Cindy.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. Bye, Brian. Hi.
Hi, I'm Chris Horvath.
Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you.
Carolyn, Chris.
Carol, nice to meet you.
Mary Scatina.
Okay. We're not going to be taping this.
We are, actually.
We aren't. It's executive session, and I don't have any taping going on.
Well, we have the right to place under oath and record the proceedings.
It doesn't say that.
It does.
In the informal,
No, we've
then
done it.
I
We've
want
done
to
it
guarantee
together.
then that none of this is going to go anywhere.
Well-
Because, while we're in this, because we've had issues in our planning and zoning commission in executive session, where it's gone to the Harbor News, because people have not followed what they're supposed to do on our board. Peggy Adler has been on YouTube with her allegations already,
Okay,
so
okay.
I
Well-
want a guarantee from this group that, you know,
Well, this group is not releasing anything.
Correct.
And Mary's in charge of that tape.
Mm-hmm.
We have one member who is not here tonight, so that's another reason for us to have the tape. And we have the right to create a record. Now, if we make a finding of probable cause, the record does become public.
but here's the problem, is that this is not this is not a public hearing
Correct.
investigation.
Correct.
So I guess my question to you is, if you determine that there's probable cause, then you have a public hearing.
Correct.
So all of this would be moot.
No, it would be part of the record.
Would
our
you not be
decision.
asking the same sort of questions?
We probably would, but we would have a record already of what was said. So we're backing up whatever we're doing. You're absolutely right. If there's no finding of probable cause, and that has happened in the past, there has been no record other than our minutes will reflect that it was that's why we numbered the complaint, and that it was dismissed without anyone being named. We can't stop the complainant, though. And I will tell you, she's not coming, and we're not planning on inviting her to any of these, but we, have the right under the rules to even subpoena people, place them under oath, and
Sure, I saw that,
Okay.
Ken, I did read all that, but I didn't see anything about taping. There's nothing in the
okay. Well,
regulations that I saw regarding taping.
there probably isn't mention of taping, but that's, what we want to do. So, I mean, it's your choice, I suppose. I mean, obviously, you don't have to answer our questions, but
Okay, well,
you do have a...
as long as we stay within the four corners of the complaint, that's fine with me.
Okay. So, I'm gonna ask Mary to turn on that.
Yep.
tape.
It was on the minute she walked in.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, and we already went over this, but we're in the confidential investigation stage of this complaint. So, I'm gonna ask you to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Would you state your name?
Sure, Cindy Watts,
Where do you live?
2 Mohawk Drive.
Do you own the property?
No, I don't.
Who does?
My parents.
What are your parents' names?
Why?
Just ask.
John and Florence.
John and Florence? Okay. And your brother's name is Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay. And that's,
He does not live there.
okay,
Has no connection to that.
okay. Is he a junior then?
No, not really.
Okay. Okay.
He's a different middle name.
Okay, thanks. So, you've been on the Planning and Zoning Commission for quite a long time.
15 years plus or minus a year. I'm confused as to exactly what year
Okay. And
I started on the board.
during the term of this, the period of time that this complaint covers, you were a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We have had Mr. Main come, Chairman,
Sure.
and Lisa MacDonald's been here as well as her husband.
Okay.
And frankly, we hadn't asked him to come, but he came and then he came in and talked to us. Gave testimony, I should say. So maybe what I could do is try to summarize our understanding of this, because we really had little, if any, independent knowledge of this whole thing, other than we all know the building that we're talking about.
Sure.
And so it was our understanding, and we've also been provided with the files, excuse me, for the first application, I'll call it, the 09 application, site plan application by your brother for the office use, the commercial office
Sure.
use. And that application was denied.
Right.
And we have a copy of the letter dated December 17th, 2009, which is part of the package, indicating why it was denied by the commission.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it's our understanding that you recused yourself from that application.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Why did you do that?
Basically, Lisa had recused herself and said I should recuse myself. And I didn't really understand why I should recuse myself, I just voluntarily did.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So then it's our...
I mean, her husband had a financial interest because he was being paid by my brother, is my understanding.
Right.
From my brother.
Right, okay. And just to go back to your point, do you have any business relationships with your brother?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Never have.
all right. We noticed that the application is that in portions, there's reference to a trust. Are you?
I have no idea what that even is.
Okay, so as far as you know, you're not like a beneficiary of that
No,
trust?
I'm not, because he would have had to tell me, to have told me.
Okay.
Yeah, he would have had to tell me.
Okay.
So, no, I have absolutely no connection. In fact, I didn't even know he named a trust
Okay,
until I saw the application.
okay, okay. So that was denied, and then the building, or a building was built on the property, and it's our understanding that it was built as a residence? And
Yes.
Okay, and therefore, there was no need to go in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Right.
Okay. And it's also our understanding that there was litigation that arose out of the denial of the first commercial application.
Yes.
Okay. And that was litigation between your brother and the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Right. Yeah.
Right. He took an appeal, I
I can't
guess?
remember whether he appealed the town or the planning and zoning, I don't know, but he appealed their decision.
Okay. And did you discuss that with him?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Right. And you're an attorney, but do you do planning and zoning work?
No, I do insurance defense work.
Okay.
I represent the insureds when they get sued for auto accidents, fall downs, whether it be personal people like yourselves, if you get into an accident and you get sued, or people like CVS Pharmacy when they get sued for someone falling on their property. I would represent CVS Pharmacy for claims that are made against them.
Okay. So there was an appeal pending, and that was being defended by, I think, Attorney Royston. Is that correct? On behalf of Planning and Zoning?
Yes, because
Okay.
he works for planning and zoning.
Right. Now, did you participate in discussions about that litigation?
No.
Okay.
Ken, the only question I have is
Sure.
that does not fall within the four corners of this complaint. The complaint alleges for the that I was in violation of 51-4A and C based on the voting from the November 2011 site plan application. It has nothing to do with part one. And Peggy Adler has sued only, or filed a complaint only based on the second part.
I understand, but what we're trying to do is make sure that we get the history of this, because it would appear, and I'll move right along into that the second application that you did vote on
Yes.
was related to the first application.
As far as site plans?
Right.
Yes.
In fact, it was pretty much exactly the same site plan application, but the second application was meant to address only the reasons for denial the first time around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so that's why we thought it was necessary for us to understand the whole process here. And then we were told that there were discussions on certain days regarding the litigation, and they were in executive session.
Trying to remember. I know there was, I think there was executive session when it was determined as to how to have John come in front of, as to what they were, as to how to have him proceed, because he was having negotiations with Dave Royston.
Okay.
Dave Royston came to us.
Right. And was on the agenda. So you participated in those discussions then?
It really wasn't much of a discussion, but I didn't personally participate. I was there.
Okay, all right. And just to, since we are in the confidential stage, you know who the other person, even though we
Lisa?
blacked
Yes.
that out, you know that the complaint is against her too. She gave us a written response as well. Have you seen her written response?
No.
Okay. She tells us in her written response that on a particular day, July 11th, in an executive session, Planning and Zoning Commission discussed the proposed reapplication by Watts, meaning your brother. Do you recall that?
The only one that I remember was when Royston was there, and it was determined as to what, and I didn't participate, I was there, but it was to determine how to have him proceed.
How to have your brother proceed?
Yes.
Okay. In what way? Like,
because the board originally did not, basically, they didn't follow the regulations with their denial. And so when Royston was in front of us, he decided that in order to streamline it, because there was only a couple issues that were made as to why they turned him down, instead of in all of his other Cam was approved, and something else was approved, like he had gotten all his approvals from all the different agencies. So they said to have him, it was like a different kind of reapplication that they've never done before. So they had him reapply only to address only the parts that were denied.
right. Okay. So, did you discuss that with your brother?
No, I never had any conversations with him with regard to what we did.
Okay. Including the fact that it shouldn't have been denied? You didn't even have that discussion with him? I mean,
it was more, no, not really, because he knows that I don't get involved. He and I don't really discuss what I do in planning and zoning. I joined this commission 15 years ago trying to help this town become a better place with regards to zoning, with regards to planning, to try and develop a town that should be where it, further along than we really have gotten to in this town. But, you know, unless you get business owners in the town to actually have some pride in their businesses, you're not going to get people to make changes. But the town historically did not have a good record of denying applications when they weren't within the zoning regulations. It was more things were just slid right through. And so George Kinsley had asked me to join the commission. I want to say it was in the mid-90s. And I thought, you know, maybe this would be something good to do for the town. I grew up here. I've been here since I was born. And with the exception of going off to college. And so I got on the commission, and I have to say it's been half the time it's been thankless because people are not happy with decisions. I have never gone outside of the regulations. There's things that maybe times I don't want to approve, but if they fall within the regulations, I've always followed what we're supposed to follow. We have a very tense one coming up. Apparently Lisa's been threatened by the applicant. There's been a lot of bullying lately going on in this town for people to get something their way if they don't like what's going on. You know, I was voted at least 3 times by this town to sit on this commission to try and make things come out right. So John knows, and I've told him, if you don't follow what you need to follow, you're not going to get approved. And so we don't really discuss that stuff. I told him, find the people you need that are good, because I've explained to him in the past the different kinds of, and this was before he ever got started, some of the people that are applicants that have come before the board where what makes the board unhappy is, since this is in confidence, the Vince Siminos of this world who presented this plan down here, and he hired his architects and his basically his architects, and they didn't. We had 10 pages of stuff that was missing, and they kept coming back to us, and it would be down to 8 pages, or it would be down to 6 pages. So we were basically writing their plans for him, and so that was like, from my experience with that, when John was going to come in front of the board to put together a thing, a site application, I said, get the best people so that you do it right, so that, you know, that they'll be able to follow, the people will put together the right kind of thing so that it's not so difficult for the board to make a decision. But other than that, I don't really talk to him about what's going on, and especially since it was something that he was coming in front of us for.
Back to that session with Dave Royston discussing the litigation. Lisa MacDonald also told us in her response that in that discussion she asked Attorney Royston whether she still needed to recuse herself from matters involving the Watts project if the reason for her initial recusal no longer existed. Do you remember that?
I don't remember her asking him, but I remember something coming up that as long as her husband was done with being paid by my brother, he said, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Did you ask him about whether you should?
Well, some of the members who are not fond of me, for what reason I don't even know, but they made it known to Dave Royston that, oh, Cindy shouldn't be able to vote. And Royston said there's no reason why I can't vote.
Okay. Did you see the letter that he wrote that seemed to be addressed about your situation?
No.
Okay. John Main gave us a letter that's dated September 12th, 2011, saying, and it says this letter is in response to the request through staff that I provide you some guidance with respect to the conduct of a meeting where there is the potential issue of whether a commission member should disqualify himself/herself under the provisions of General Statutes 8-11, which provides that no member of a zoning commission, quote, shall participate in the hearing or decision of the board or commission of which he is a member upon any matter in which he is directly or indirectly interested in a personal or financial sense. And then Attorney Royston goes on to cite a case and Thorne versus Zoning Commission versus Old Saybrook, or of Old Saybrook, excuse me, and then states, this case stands for two basic propositions relevant here. First, the relationship of brother and sister constitutes an, quote, interest in a personal sense, end quote. Second, the participation of a disqualified person can render the action of a commission a nullity.
I've never heard that.
Never
I've
heard that?
seen it.
Okay. Okay.
No, in fact, I even called Dave Royston with regard to this, and he said, and I read him the two conflict of interest allegations that Peggy Adler has made against me. He said, there's nothing that you are in violation of.
Okay. Okay. His letter then goes on to give Mr. Main some instructions about acting as chair and what he might, say. And then we read the minutes of that meeting. It seemed like Mr. Main did follow some of his.
He asked when we voted. He asked everybody individually, and they didn't each answer individually. Did Lisa's vote have any influence on their vote? And everybody said no.
So, back to, I guess, the question I asked originally, why would you recuse yourself the first time around?
Only because Lisa suggested, so she was doing it, so I figured, okay, because I'm not all that up on all the zoning regulations. And then while things went along, Dave Royston said there was no reason why I couldn't vote. And then I felt that, I've been voted in this town to vote on site applications, following the regulations of the town, and I thought, well, I need to follow what I'm supposed to do. And so therefore I voted to do this, and I decided that it would be okay. So I got all of the records from Julie so that I would be able to read all of them. I read all of them so that I would be up to speed on everything, because I would not have voted if I did not review everything that went on in the first go round. So because we weren't voting on the entire application, we were only voting on part of the application. So I wanted to be up to speed on all of it. So I read everything and felt that it's my duty as a commissioner to participate, because that's what I was voted into doing. Since if he didn't follow the regulations, I would have voted no. He did. I voted yes, because they fall within the zoning regs.
You just said that Dave Royston said there was no reason why you couldn't vote.
Yes, he did.
After the fact or before the fact?
Before the fact. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. If Dave Royston said you cannot vote, I would not have voted. He is our attorney for the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, then I'm confused, because I thought you said you didn't recall discussing your own personal situation.
Well, I didn't personally ask him. He just made it known to the entire panel. I didn't say, Dave, can I or can I not vote? He said when Anselmo Delia or Pam Fritz, one of those two, I don't remember, said, oh, I shouldn't be able to vote. And Dave Royston basically said that there was no reason why I couldn't vote.
But he said in this letter that you voting could render the action of the commission a nullity.
Ken, I
Sure.
have never seen this letter.
Okay.
I mean, he has never told me that.
Do
In
you wanna
fact, when
see
I
it?
talked to him, when this allegation was made against me, he never even mentioned this to me at all.
Okay,
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
okay,
Well, not him.
okay.
Thank you.
Did you, I guess we're all curious, did you feel that there were, we know that some people voted against your brother's application. Did you feel that if you did not vote and an alternate, say, took your place, that there was a risk that the decision would be denied?
No, not at all.
Then why wouldn't you just recuse yourself?
Because I have been voted by this town to be a participating member of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna be bullied out of doing the job I'm hired to do. And I'm hired because I'm voted to do a job here. So I'm not gonna be bullied because someone doesn't like something that's going on. And so, that's why. And 51.4A and 51.4C is all financially related. I have absolutely no financial or business relationship with my brother, with this town. I'm not on any of the commissions. I have no personal stake in this. There was no reason why I couldn't vote.
You would agree that your brother had a personal
No.
financial interest
No.
in the vote?
He has absolutely no personal financial interest in that vote.
Why?
The personal financial interest that he would have would be if he was gonna get a contract with the town of Clinton. This does not have anything, his getting a private, building allowed to be put on, not a private building, he already has a private building, but to be able to have a business building on his private property, he's not getting any monetary compensation from the town to build it, to have it. In fact, he'll be paying more taxes on it, which is a cost to him, not a bonus to him.
Right, but he would pay more taxes because the value of the property goes up when it's approved for a commercial building as opposed to a residence.
Not necessarily.
So his taxes just go up for no apparent reason? I'm not.
Well, when you put a building on, you have a bigger square lot, a bigger square footage of a building, and so therefore the building itself has more value because you've built more building, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not getting money from the town. And what these two things indicate is that he would be getting some kind of contract with the town. It would be like a Neary Construction, who, if I'm voting and Neary wants to come in with an application to be able to do repave all the roads in the town, and he says, ooh, let me redo your driveway for you on the side if you vote for me. That's what this kind of stuff relates to. It doesn't relate to someone coming in with a site application to build a building on a plot of land.
That's how you read the Code of Ethics?
Yes. And on top of all that, I have absolutely no connection to his property. I have no connection to his business that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting anything out of this other than a headache these days.
But if, just have a question, I'm just a simple country person. And a lot of this stuff is way over my head, I'll be very honest about that. If P&Z does not approve the plan, what happens to the value of the property?
It remains as it is. He has his home office occupation there.
Was he living there?
Under the town regulations, residence is a question which he's already involved with your partner.
Okay.
And this vote really made all of the litigation go away.
Yeah.
So he would not have to pay for attorneys and go through any more litigation on this property.
Pretty much.
Did you read the definition of financial interest in the Code of Ethics?
Yes, I did.
Second page, where it says it means a monetary or pecuniary benefit received by a town official / employee as a result of a contract, transaction, zoning decision, or other matter, which is or may be the subject of an official act or action by the town.
Right. That has nothing to do with me, nor him. He wasn't receiving any kind of contract with
Well,
the
how would a
town.
zoning decision ever then have, under your definition, how would a zoning decision ever have?
Because someone might have a business that they want to, how do I put this? Someone might want to put a business on, in a building, and that if I had some kind of financial stake in that business, then there would be a financial connection. If they had to come in front of the zoning board in order to get their business approved to be put on that, in that particular plot or building. And if I was the secretary of the company and I'm gonna take an income from it, or if I'm an active member of the business, something along those lines.
But the fact that it was your brother doesn't,
No, that has nothing to do with it. He's getting no financial contract with the town of Clinton. There's no money changing hands. The town is not paying him to put up a piece of property. I mean, to put up a building.
But he does receive a benefit with the approval by P&Z.
What does he receive? What kind of benefit is he receiving? What kind of financial benefit from the town of Clinton is he
But
receiving?
why go through this if there's no benefit? I don't understand.
right?
Of course there's
He's
a
not
benefit.
receiving a benefit from the town, but him coming in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission and receiving the ability to put up a building on his lot. It allows him to, I guess, rent out space. I don't even know what he's going to do with it, frankly. But if he were to rent out space, he's not getting it from the town. The town is not paying him for it. The town is not getting anything back other than the town is going to get taxes from it.
But if the town doesn't approve it, he can't rent it out, right? And
Right,
that's
but
money
that-
to him.
But it's not,
That's not a benefit.
no, the town, if you read 54A, 51-4A, it says, persons governed by this code, who shall not engage in any business or transaction. Well, this was not a business or a transaction, this was a site plan application. It's not a business, it's not a transaction with the town of Clinton.
Have you looked up the definition of transaction? Because I did after.
You don't
I
have it in
read
here,
your-
do you? You don't have
It's
a,
not specifically defined, but it is in a dictionary. And
can,
it's not limited to a financial.
but you can't just read the first
Exchange.
line, you have to continue on, you have
I
to read it as a whole.
understand that. But
You have to
I
read it
was
as a
reading
whole.
your response, and I understand what you're saying. Your response here is because there was no money exchanged between, I guess, planning and zoning and your brother, or the town and your brother, that this
Or
code of
me and my
ethics,
brother.
this code of ethics does not apply.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would, or anybody have
I
any
have
other
a
questions?
question. I just need to clear it up, something you said earlier on, that regarding that first go-through of the application, you said because the board did not follow the regs in the denial, the initial denial. The board did not properly follow the regulations. Can you just tell me what you meant by that?
They're supposed to follow the zoning regulations when deciding on a site application,
Okay,
or
right.
a variance, or whatever comes in front of us. And if they don't, then people have the right to bring actions against them Because if they don't have a basis for what their decision is, then the town leaves themselves open to lawsuits.
Is that what you're saying, they didn't have a basis?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Peggy Adler, she brought this complaint. She was opposed to this project from the beginning, 2009. Do you two have a history of any, I mean, you said that she was a bully and that she has bullied you and bullied Lisa.
Well, she's bullying now, is what she's doing.
Right, she's bullying now, that's what she was saying. What is
I have no history with her other than I played on the softball team a couple times when we played against Channel 8 for charity. Other than that, I've had no dealings with her.
You don't know why she has such animosity or why she would be bullying or?
Why she hated this project, I have no idea.
Okay.
Other than she's on the police commission and they're not extremely happy with it, so she, I guess, took on this plight as her, I don't know, her project.
Okay.
I take great umbrage with this because I have been an attorney in excellent standing for 20 years. I have never had an allegation filed against me for any cause. I'm trying to do my civic duty by being on this commission, and if I'm going to have to get ethics complaints filed against me and other issues taken, I can't afford to have that kind of thing affect my career, my livelihood. I have never done anything against unethical or immoral in my entire life, and I have. This just really bothers me.
I'll just give you a moment. I just have one more question. I just wonder if you felt so provoked by her and so bullied by her that you were going to stand up to her and take this vote?
No, I had no idea that she
Okay.
was going to be filing this.
Okay, I just needed to raise that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And sir, I would never have voted for anything if I did not feel it was within the regulations. I don't vote on feelings. I don't vote on whether I like you or dislike you, whether I like what's coming into this town or not coming into this town as far as businesses. I don't mean people.
I don't question that. I don't question that, and I really value your experience and your commitment in taking this on. I wouldn't in my wildest dreams be on the P&Z Commission, for anything. So I really appreciate you doing that. But can you appreciate that this does give the appearance of a conflict of interest, that you have a personal interest because you have a personal relationship with your brother, and that it might have been better for you to just recuse yourself, even with all of your commitment and dedication and responsibility, your experience and everything. But just to put that to rest, not even to give the appearance of a conflict of interest because this was your brother, and recuse yourself.
No, because Dave Royston said I could. If Dave Royston had said, "Don't vote," you can't vote, I wouldn't have voted. But Dave Royston said I can vote. I'm not a zoning attorney. I don't ever say that I am. And so therefore, if Dave had said, "Don't vote," I wouldn't have voted. But Dave said I could vote, and so therefore I made sure I read everything that I was supposed to read so that I knew everything that was going on.
Did you say that you could vote, but that you were risking a reversal of the decision?
No, absolutely not.
So you had no idea what he actually said to chairman in a written.
No, I've never heard that, nor has he even told me about that, and when I called him after this complaint was sent to me, he never informed me of that letter that he wrote.
In all of the 15 years, have you ever had the experience of any other commission member or witnessing them recusing themselves because of an affiliation, a family member, a neighbor, seen it happen? Do you ever-
Seen people abstain.
Because of that?
No, they just abstain because they don't want to vote.
Well, no, but not this.
Yeah. It's like Alan Kravitz. I don't understand why, but he abstained from voting, and yet he was the one that
We saw
was the
that.
big person, and then he abstained.
that's
And by
the
abstaining,
instance.
that's voting yes.
I just meant ever, all the years you served, any other member?
No, there might have been, but I don't remember any.
Okay.
I mean, it's
You don't remember any recusals at all? Ever?
no. I mean,
Okay.
I wish I could say yes, but I really don't. I really don't. I mean, like I said, remember people abstaining. But this whole thing with you, which you asked me a little bit earlier about, well, if I didn't vote, then
You couldn't have
alternate, there would not have been an alternate.
Why?
Because the way it works is if I just recuse myself, I'm still there. And there were 6 people that were voting besides Lisa and me, and that's a quorum, and you don't need more than a quorum, so they would not have to seat anybody. So therefore, it would have been the other people that would have voted, and
They wouldn't have to, but that was raised with other people, so we checked for ourselves in your bylaws. The bylaws don't seem to say that to us.
but Ken, this is, I've checked this with Julie, with
Julie's the clerk.
Putnam, yeah, who's been doing this for umpteen years, and as long as we have a quorum, we don't seat anybody.
Right. But you could.
I don't think so. I mean, not that I know of.
Well, it seems to say that I didn't print them out, but in the bylaws, but, okay. You're not the first person to say that you don't do it. And we were curious, frankly, as to
But
why.
you could if there was a danger of a quorum not being present.
I don't even know, because it's never come to that.
I see. Okay.
Because I asked Julie that, she said, well, they've never dealt with it. So, but she did tell me that they don't put people in because we are considered to be there, so therefore they would not. I mean, if I had left that night and gone home before the vote, then I would be gone from the meeting, and so then they would seat an alternate. But because I did not, if I would have just recused myself, I would have still been present, and so therefore there would never have been anybody else that would have been
You don't leave
seated.
the room, you still stay, I hear it all.
Whether you leave the room or stay, you're still at the meeting, you're just not
Right, but
voting
do you
on
leave and
that.
recuse? Do you leave?
You don't have to.
You just can't participate in the discussions, right? And
You just can't
vote.
participate in the vote. Or you might not be able to participate, I don't even know, but maybe not in the discussion, but I usually don't.
And this came up because we noticed right after your brother's, the discussion and vote on the brother's application, somebody left.
Oh,
The
Mike
alternate.
Rossi, he was
Right.
sick.
Right. So that's why we wondered why. Yeah, it does say. After that.
Boy, oh boy.
It says in Article 15 that if a regular member of the commission is absent or disqualified, the chairman shall designate an alternate to act during the period of his absence or disqualification. So that was, but what you're saying is what Mr. Main said and Lisa MacDonald said, but it doesn't seem to jive with your bylaws.
Well, I don't know, that's all I know is that because they had a quorum, they had no need to seat anybody else, and they never seat alternates unless they need to.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
I think so.
Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I'd just like to know where we stand.
We have to now talk amongst ourselves. I think we're gonna, our other member who's absent will wanna listen to the tape. He was here for the last meeting and all the other meetings that we had, and then we're gonna meet again, and then we have to decide whether or not we think there's probable cause. And if there's probable cause, then we issue a decision, and like I said, then our record becomes public, so.
See, well, that's where I have the problem. If you find probable cause, the way I read it, then you're supposed to then have a hearing.
Correct, we do. Right,
And then it's not public record until after the hearing.
well,
These findings.
it says if.
This is
board-
supposed to be a confidential meeting.
It is.
And I was told that this would, by Mary, that this would only just be to discuss my letter. My response.
Well, it is, your
Okay,
response.
and then, I mean, because if I needed to have my lawyer here, I would have brought him if this was gonna turn into something else. I spoke with him. It's not Dick Royston.
Okay, well, Lisa MacDonald brought her lawyer when she came.
That's who my lawyer is. I spoke to him the other day, and he said, well, he didn't think that it would be necessary, because he too reviewed these regulations and feels that there is nothing that I'm in conflict with regard to these regulations.
Okay, well, it says here, if there is found such probable cause, the board shall make public its findings within 5 business days after the termination of its investigation and decision thereon, and the entire record of the investigation shall become public. So, you know, but you're right, and then the next thing is we need to schedule a hearing if we're gonna do that. But if we decide there is no probable cause, then the only record will be that we met and dismissed the complaint, and that's happened in the past, so. And frankly, well, yeah, I won't say that, never mind. So, if there's anything else, Cindy, let us know. We're not gonna close our investigation yet, because we have John Critchley, you know, and so we wanna meet, we wanna discuss everything. We were given a lot of, we asked for a lot of information, and we're trying to get through it, so.
Can I do ask that, that this is, the way I see it, the way I've always practiced law is when a complaint is brought, it's based on the 4 corners of the complaint. Peggy Adler has alleged that I am in violation of A and C, A and C, because I voted. And the way I read these 2 sections of a conflict of interest is that I have no financial or pecuniary interest at all in the decision with regard to John's site plan. I don't know if there's anything else that you want from me. I certainly don't have any kind of business records. I don't have any way to prove to you, but I can guarantee you that I'm not in any way connected to John's business, that building, his approval to be able to build the building, in the sense of I'm not getting anything back from it. I'm not getting any kind of
And you said there's no family trust or
no. I think that's his own trust, just so that he has his own business. That's all I can think. Because he would have told me if he made me in the trust.
Now, who's John D. Watts? Is that your father or is that your brother? John D. Watts.
Well, my dad is John D.
D. Oh, okay.
So they're different middle names.
Well, John was born John Gregory. A lot of times he uses my father's middle name. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
My parents only own 2 Mohawk.
Okay. And so then your father doesn't own that?
No,
Okay.
none at all. My parents are only in that house. They have nothing to do with that house.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I have a copy of that letter?
Dave Merson's letter?
Yeah, 'cause I literally have never seen that earlier.